Ooh, what do we think? Well, Danny, you are predicting the future. You said E4, F4. Did you think G4 would also make an appearance? Let's go the whole hog.
Okay, so these are the last few moves.
Yes.
And
F4.
F4, G4, golly. I mean, I'm surprised he's launched the G pawn, to be honest. At the moment, well, in fact, there is a threat because G5 followed by G6, exploiting the pin here. But here's a funny variation. I thought, oh, block it with the G pawn. Oh, no. And suddenly the queen is in.
Oh, dear.
So there are some cheap tricks there. However, really? G4? I don't know.
Well, it's the kind of move that is terrifying, let's face it, in rapid competition. I mean, in classical chess, it's less so because you can start to just figure out where exactly you can put the major pieces. Like you can see the h4 square is vulnerable to a queen infiltration. But with not so much time on the clock, it's very difficult to handle. So White's plan is going to be...
So that's the threat. So is he... Well, what happens if King h8? The computer isn't very impressed with King h8.
Well, isn't...
But...
Okay, so why not King h8? Because
I don't
this...
know. I mean,
because
maybe it's still worried about this. Maybe...
Yeah, but then you just take...
Maybe it's
and then
thinking
go
there's
bishop
this...
to e5. And then you're just looking at Queen f3.
Queen f3 over here. Queen f3, then g6.
G6. How are you going to defend f7?
Yeah, but
okay.
I think there might be something here. Rook f1.
Rook f1.
Rook f8.
G6 looks pretty. Queen f3. G6.
Queen f3, g6.
Actually,
f7 is sort of hanging. I don't know. This. Do we get rid of this one? An attack on the HL? No, the computer doesn't like that one.
But what's wrong with G6?
I
want to play for mate.
Now we've got a pin. Yeah. That's the one. Good stuff. Well done.
Yeah. Just Queen f3, Queen h5.
Yeah. Okay, so
finished.
This is not so simple.
Wait, he's made a move.
He's played bishop h4.
Bishop h4, right. Okay. So he had to be careful about this g4, g5 plan. So rook e2.
But now the d pawn is vulnerable.
Maybe that's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Wow. I'm not sure Hari would go along with that.
I have an idea.
It's a pawn. It's a pawn.
I agree with you, it's a pawn. But I'm just thinking that the target is e4. So I'm just thinking rook to e8, you know, just...
Ooh, b4, threatening...
b4, bishop 2.
Threatening bishop b5.
b5.
So hang on. Okay, well, let me ask the...
Yeah, the salient question. Take the pawn.
Now, what does he have in mind? Bishop f6, then e5. We're obviously overlooking something here. Why not take this pawn? So if bishop f6, the pawn can push.
Yeah.
Then there's rook d8. I think this might be the issue.
And with great space comes great responsibility.
Oh, yes.
And you see...
And the king. Very interesting.
Creaking.
So what's he played? He's played bishop c4 just to cut out bishop e5. That was a very interesting variation. So basically, Hikaru realized that e4 would just leave his king too exposed. He could, of course, give up the b pawn, and then it's probably about equal. But instead, he's played very responsibly.
Oh, but it makes a lot of sense, right? You go bishop c4, you anchor that piece with b3.
Yes.
And then, you know, you just start doing the slow build attack. You just make sure that everything is covered. You still have g5 in the air. And there we see Harikrishna reaching for queen to b7. I told you, e4 is sensitive.
It's a little bit sensitive, yeah, this is true. I mean, Hikaru's exposed his king. Clock times. Now this is important. Harikrishna has 2 minutes remaining. Nakamura has just over 5 minutes, and we know how tricky Hikaru is in this kind of situation. I tell you what, Harry has really got to switch on here, otherwise he's going to be in massive trouble.
Yeah, he absolutely has to.
I would bet on a Hikaru win here. I'm telling you.
Hikaru is so good when he's got no time on the clock. He's one of the best Blitz players in the world. He's also one of the best defenders as well. He's able to coordinate his pieces so that they suddenly come alive. And there you see G5 from Hikaru.
G5?
D5, quick answer. D5.
Wow. It's breakout time.
It is breakout time indeed. And now, how to handle that one? The only way that you can stand your ground is to go bishop a6, which I don't believe in. So he's captured on d5.
I mean, I think this bishop has to go, otherwise it's too strong on the long diagonal. I mean, this still seems fine. I mean, the computer thinks it's about equal. And I have to say, just optically, it seems to me that black should be all right here, you know, because Nakamura's king is quite exposed. So for me, the big issue here is the clock. Nakamura has 4 minutes. Harikrishna has just over 2 minutes. Can Nakamura keep it alive? But he has to be very, very careful here.
Yeah, you absolutely has to be careful because the king has got no protection. So every move now has to carry with a high level of precision, because if you lose control, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at this. For example, exchanging, and this... Oh, wow, he's taken the pawn. He's taken on d4. Now that is brave.
Okay, because the first move that you're looking at is just capturing the bishop and then the queen dives in.
Okay, should we try?
Yeah.
Let's give it a go.
And there you can see, big mistake.
Apparently, the computer thinks this is nice. I wonder if you can just play g6.
G6.
This is the problem. And queen g3 will be met by rook g2. So, not queen f3, apparently. Tempting move, but the computer still thinks that black is okay here.
Yeah. And there we see trade of bishops.
Now,
okay, now Harikrishna has to be, again, precise. Perhaps.
Well, maybe just g6 here. Just block. Is this possible?
Well, he's played something else because g6 is in the air.
Oh, rook c8. Hitting the queen.
Okay, again.
d3, b3, don't know. On d3 it gets hit by the rook.
Yeah, on d3, you're... well, queen d3 somehow is very natural, right? Because you centralize the queen. For the minute, the bishop on h4 is offside, so it's blocked him by the g5 pawn. But it's
Minute and a half. Minute and a half for
unpredictable.
Harikrishna. Minute and a half against 3:47 for Nakamura.
Mm-hmm. And he's reaching for the pawn. It makes sense. Okay, takes.
Queen c7,
Queen
hitting c2.
Yeah. And also, the bishop on h4 might be sidelined, but it's still pointing at some critical squares around the white king. Rook d8 in the air. Queen g3 is something to always worry about. Hikaru has to find a way to coordinate his pieces. I'm just thinking you go g6. Randomize the position.
Well, I mean, this is the advantage that Harikrishna has in the position, or let's say compensation for the pawn, that his king is more secure than Nakamura's. So g6 would kind of, well, that's, yeah, if Nakamura played g6, then it would make things a little bit more random. I don't know if is that a legal move? Well, it's legal. Is it a decent move? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
g6, rook d8. Where's that queen going? Apparently that one's very nice. Why? Who knows? Queen e4?
Well, you can take on
Take
you
on
can take an f7.
Queen f7.
Queen f7. What else could you do? Oh, hang on. No. It's basics. No,
Is
no.
it? Is it basics?
Is it basics? Oh, I was going to say queen takes rook, but there's a back rank checkmate, so you're not actually threatening. So now you can just you can take, for instance, on b4, just to kind of show this line, because it's nice.
Oh, okay.
Because after rook takes queen, you have... Okay, it doesn't work, but I just wanted to show this checkmate.
That one's mate. However, I think, is there a check on b6 or something?
Yeah, okay. But I just wanted to point out...
There are back rank issues.
Back rank issues.
Okay, now what's the actual position? No, he hasn't played g6, but Nakamura having a big thing, and clock time's evening up. So Nakamura down to 150 now against Harikrishna's 139.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I find this such a difficult position to take in because White's king is so loose, and the bishop is slightly odd on h4. You know, loose pieces drop off. I mean, when that bishop... It's not protected. Queen e4, that's a centralization. Yeah, so that will avoid any hits with rook d8.
Yeah.
Hits the bishop on h4.
Okay. Also, you're ready to meet queen to g3 with rook g2. And everything is beautifully covered. And what about queen takes c2? That's not possible because the bishop is on prise.
Yep.
Although,
no,
because the queen can drop
queen
back
can
some
drop
beautiful geometry there.
Yeah. So this is tricky. I mean, what's he going to do? Bishop g3, possibly?
Yeah. Okay, he's coming with the queen. Queen to c5 check, of course.
Has he played queen c5?
It's on or has he gone queen c4? Maybe it's queen c4. It's
queen c4.
It's queen c4. It's on a light square, and Hikaru is
interesting.
Pawn up.
Content to play the endgame, even though he's a pawn down. Pentala, Harikrishna going for a queen exchange. I mean, it's true that White's pawns are a little bit ragged. But that's a safe way for Hikaru to play. Just exchange queens. Ooh, wow. It looks like he's taking the pawn on b4.
Yeah, he's taking the pawn. Wow, such a nice move, right? Very geometrical. And there you see the clock times.
That's brave. Clock times under a minute, 40 odd seconds. Under 40 seconds for Hari. And Naka has just over a minute, I think. Yep.
Yeah, he's got just over a minute. And there we see Hikaru thinking...
Well, is he going to take on e4 and take on e4 and take on c2?
Well, that's what Harikrishna's working
sorry,
out.
The bishop is on prise.
He drops back the queen. Again, keeping the fight alive.
Very cool move.
Eyeballing the rook on e2. So Hikaru, again, has to proceed with care. g6 played, opening up the black king. Things are sharpening up super nicely here.
Let me just go back. Queen g5 is a clever move because it was targeting the pawn on g5, so that's why that's been done.
Mm-hmm. And Hikaru just playing super well, right? Now he's just, look how he drops the bishop back to c3. It is safely anchored. Queen e6 is in the air. Queen takes g6 is in the air. The rook on e2, which he put there deliberately, is ready to spring into action or defend the king, however you choose to look at it, with rook to g2. It's looking like Hikaru is taking full control. And
it's certainly impressive how he's managed to coordinate. However, you know, I'll come back to this again, White's king, Naka's king is very exposed here. And they're both under a minute, 50 seconds for Nakamura, Harikrishna 18 seconds. Naka shaking his head. This is very difficult to control. Yes, he has coordination, but Harikrishna has ensured that he's maintained activity. If queen takes bishop, queen takes rook. Let's just remind ourselves of that one.
And that's why he goes...
Queen e5.
Queen
yeah,
e5.
I'm not surprised he wants to exchange queens because...
Yeah, well,
king is exposed.
And also, he can bank it in the endgame.
Yeah,
Those two queenside pawns are going to be serious runners. They cannot be stopped. So that's why Pentala, he just has to drop back, defend G7. But now, again, he drops his queen back.
Queen e4. So Nakamura just repeating the position, actually, or if black wants to. Yeah, they've repeated the position. It's gone queen e4, queen b5.
Yeah, he was worried about queen f7, but queen f7... There you're seeing queen to b5. And there we see a handshake in the background. It was a... I'm just looking it up. Looks like it might have been a draw between
Naka playing on.
Wesley So.
Naka playing on. He's played king
Luke
h2.
Mendoza.
He's under 30 seconds. Harikrishna, 15 seconds. Bishop f6. Offering in exchange. There's an exchange of bishops. I mean, I think Nakamura will be happy to see that. The move was rook f6.
And now you've got queen e8 being threatened. So he goes c4. Okay, queen e8 not entirely possible because of rook to f2 at the end of those trades.
Oh, but queen c5.
Queen c.
Oh, he's played queen b8. He's played queen b8.
Check. That
And
can
now
be
queen e5. Oh no, then rook
No.
f2, king g1. Okay, he's just stepped out. The king is safe on g2,
absolutely.
covered by the queen. But still, this is really tricky.
Yeah, because the white king is so unsafe. So how
And
to
look at
start
black's king.
advancing? Yeah. And this is the thing, the queen on b8 is a fantastic defender of the black king, covering the 8th rank. But at the same time, just watch that long diagonal from b8 to h2, and there you're seeing the players. We've just got to just focus on the video because the players are playing on their last seconds. And there you can see 25 seconds for Harikrishna and Hikaru under the minute. 20 seconds left.
He's going to. Oh no, he wants to play on. This is daring. He's repeated and played queen d4. So he just worked out a little sequence, gained 10 seconds each time he makes a move, and puts the pressure back on Hari. Rook f5. He's a cool man, is Hari. He's a very cool player. And that rook could come to g5 to check the king. And that's why Naka's reaching for that h-pawn, but that makes the king even more insecure.
Yeah.
He's played it.
He's played it. Whoa, a
Queen.
check there. Got to be careful. And now, well, big threat, queen to f1. And Hikaru, how is he going to keep control?
Well,
And protect the b2 pawn.
he could play rook f2, and after the exchange, give up the b2 pawn, and then try and use that past c pawn. I think he's going to do it. He's done it. So Harikrishna can exchange and take on b2. He's done it. He's going to take on b2. Naka is still better.
He has the advanced c pawn. And now, for Harikrishna, it's just all about generating those checks. And for Hikaru, he's going to try and work his king over to the queen side and use the c pawn as some shelter.
It should be a draw, but odds on, I think Naka is going to do this. I mean, this is... The thing is, white can play this one on forever. King h8, that's a very cool move.
And this is a very important game because at the minute, Team MGD1 are leading by 1 point after David Anton won his game.
So with queen d5, Nakamura preparing now to advance the c-pawn. And at the moment, there are no sensible checks. So c5 is now a threat.
Yeah, and again, has to find a good square. Okay.
Pins the pawn. Clever. Just making it as difficult as possible. That means Nakamura's got to move the king, but then the king probably won't be on such a secure square. So clever defense from Harikrishna.
Some very good defense there for the time being, but Hikaru, the great thing about queen and pawn endings is he can, for instance, just give a check and then just try and win some time that way. So h5, okay.
That's amazing.
He's going to take with the king, Danny.
I mean, normally you wouldn't want to exchange off that pawn, but Nakamura is thinking this might be my best chance to try and set up some kind of mating threats on the king side in combination with the c-pawn. I mean, that's an extraordinary move.
And it's not easy to handle when you only have 20 seconds left on the clock and it's ticking down. Decision time for Harikrishna. Does he allow the white king to step up? Does he try to initiate some checks? 8 seconds. Okay, he takes. King takes h5. Hikaru is threatening to come in with the king on g6, f7.
Oh, that's another clever move. Just pinning the c-pawn again so it can't advance. And now he's threatening to check from h3, for example.
Yeah.
So really, really good defense from Hari. I have to say, he's a very cool player. Naka's going in with the king, mate threatened on the back rank. However, there's going to be a check on g3.
That's absolutely forced. And now the king is probably going to run to f7 as well. So
now
in
king
it comes.
f7. Mate is still threatened with queen h5.
h5.
However, I mean, queen f4 check. But then the king...
Queen c7 check.
That's probably a better move. I mean, but Nakamura is running with the king towards the pawn. So Harikrishna is still under massive pressure.
He throws in another check on the diagonal. King steps to the center. He's getting ready to block any checks with the queen. Now he steps back.
Although material is even...
It's all to do with the passed pawn, right?
The g-pawn for the moment is going nowhere.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of irrelevant. But it does shield the king, at least.
Yeah, and now's the chance.
If there were no g-pawn, queen e5 check would exchange queens. So it actually does play an important role.
And
there's going to be a lot of checks now, more checks.
But it's always a question of making the most accurate check, because he had a choice. He could have checked on h4. And now the g-pawn comes rolling.
Is rolling. And if queen d4, then actually I think that would just be a draw. Oh, interesting. There was a bit more to it than that, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, giving a check to the king. Where is it going to hide? And now that we have a potential pawn race in the air, if the queens get traded off.
If queen d4, I think king g7, actually, is the move.
Exactly.
Rather than exchange.
Yeah. It's looking like it's heading to a draw. And just keeping an eye on the other results. Still trailing by 1 point. And it's a complicated bishop ending between Arjun Erigaisi and Alireza Firouzja.
Oh, okay. We might turn to that, but we need to finish that one off. I mean, Nakamura is still trying. I have brilliant defense from Harikrishna. I thought he was going down, but he has pulled this one back.
Yeah, and he comes in with the queen.
He just wants to advance the g-pawn now. I thought it was going nowhere, but Harikrishna has managed to turn this one.
He has turned it around. It's not very easy, right? When you've been like putting pressure, then suddenly.
Oh wow! If that pawn lands, it's mate.
Yeah, that's true. But we're going to see a good old-fashioned race. And the thing is, though, Harikrishna is 2 squares away from queening.
Do you know what? It's going to go g2,
c7, queen takes c7.
Yeah. I think that there will
he
be
throws in a
check.
check.
Yeah, a check first, and then g2, so that the g-pawn is protected.
And there we see the king hiding.
G2, c7.
And there we see Hikaru offer Harikrishna a draw. And wow, What a big fight. Well, Pentala Harikrishna on the back foot for a lot of that game, but in the end it was a draw.